A young man finds a mysterious door in his room. With a click, he turns the doorknob and he is violently pulled through the doorway. Sprawled on a grimy floor, he looks up in shock. A dark, blood-stained hallway stretches before him. Standing in the doorway, he calls into the void. A crunching, chomping sound echoes from the darkness. Something is eating in the shadows. He slams the door shut, but then it vanishes entirely. A message announces he has awakened an ability, World Link. As he sits stunned, a voice speaks from a small portal. A telepathic voice warns him to listen carefully to survive. This voice instructs him to find a cursed statue in his bag. Memories flood back. He has taken over the body of Shen Yi. This original Shen Yi was destroyed by the statue's curse. Just as Shen Yi perished, our boy's soul arrived from another world. This voice explains his World Link ability created the door, and his politeness earned him a special title. This voice warns that his enemies are coming and that it needs him. He is already a target and cannot figure out why. With no way to defend himself, he decides to re-enter the door. Despite his fear, he resolves to enter again. A powerful aura surrounds him, the gatekeeper of worlds. He politely introduces himself, activating his new title, but a three-eyed skeleton just growls in response. This skeletal beast crashes down hard, and Shen Yi jolts awake in his bed. He is frustrated to learn he can only earn one title a day. If the skeleton blocks the door, he is stuck, so he decides to use his past life skills. This monster turns its glowing green eyes as it smashes its way out of the room. Shen Yi desperately calls for it to wait, pointing out its many severe injuries. This creature actually stops in its tracks, and Shen Yi makes his offer, but its response is a blast of purple energy. His negotiation has clearly failed. Later, at his apartment, his parents visit, and he cherishes this family moment. Their peace is broken by a knock at the door, revealing two police officers outside. They are here to discuss the Shen Yi case, but they dismiss it as unpredictable fate. This lead officer says nothing can be done, and Shen Yi's anger boils over. He remembers the victim of the curse and challenges their passive acceptance. These officers are left speechless by his question, until the younger one speaks up with new information. This officer says they found no one with a grudge against him, and with their duties done, the police prepare to leave, but our boy knows they are just scared of the curse, when suddenly the sergeant with the prosthetic arm returns. He quietly hands over his personal card, telling the kid to call him directly if anything feels wrong, leaving him with the name Sergeant Luo Feikyuan. A small spark of hope ignites. But he questions what one sergeant can do against such a threat, especially now that his enemies know he is alive, and he fears they will target his foster family, a desperate resolve taking hold. He knows he must get stronger immediately. He forces a smile and approaches a strange door, stepping into a dark, dilapidated room, where a skeletal creature greets him from the ceiling, but it ignores his offering, pointing towards something else. It wants a different item and offers a trade in return. A glowing crystal that grants knowledge and skills, and without a second thought, he grabs it, shattering the gem into a vortex of green energy, which instantly teaches him a new elven movement technique, giving him a new way to defend himself. This skeletal creature collects its payment, absorbing the offered items as the door seals shut. This lead questions the secrecy of their new contract. He tries to practice a new skill but lacks the agility points. A voice from the darkness questions how he is still alive. This lead's eyes widen in shock. An assassin hangs upside down outside his window, ready to test him. He dodges a sudden attack, realizing they have sent a killer. He tries a different tactic, activating a polite person skill, but the assassin's blade swings down, completely unaffected. He learns his title is too low rank to work. He quickly spends a status point to boost his agility, finally unlocking the evasion technique. He activates Moonlit Deerwalk, vanishing in a flash of green light. This assassin is left alone, stunned by his target's disappearance. He charges forward, refusing to let the kid escape, but suddenly finds himself in a strange, desolate space. This lead appears behind him, sealing the door to the trap. A monstrous three-eyed skull materializes in the darkness. Its massive jaws lunge toward the trapped assassin. This sounds of a brutal attack echo from the void, leaving only a skeletal remnant behind. Back in his room, the lead collapses against the wall, exhausted. A sudden knock at the door makes him fear another assassin, but a familiar voice calls out, asking if Shen Yi is okay. Shen Yi recognizes his best friend and shifts back to his normal form. His friend bursts in, hugging him tightly and apologizing for the trouble. Shen Yi reassures his friend it was not his fault, but Heiyu is still overcome with guilt and relief. As his mother explains, his dad is out getting a special tonic, and Heiyu is stunned by the news of such a rare item, reminding Shen Yi to recover for the upcoming high school exams, which triggers a sudden realization for Shen Yi. He is a middle schooler who missed his first exam due to the curse, but his mother says he can still pass with a good agility score, and he finally understands the world's stat-based exams, but going to school means painting a target on his back. And his mother senses his deep hesitation, so she pulls him into a comforting embrace, telling him he does not have to take the exams if he does not want to, because all they truly want is for him to be safe. Touched by her love, Shen Yi puts on a brave face, and the next day he arrives at the school, finding the curriculum focused on psychic energy and strength training, when a classmate tells him a girl named Zhao Yibing is waiting outside. And he remembers her as someone who constantly pestered the original Shen Yi, so he offers a cold congratulations. which prompts her to delete his number right in front of him. But Shen Yi calls her out for twisting the truth, sparking gossip and drawing the anger of another girl, and Zhao Yibing puts on a tearful display. But Shen Yi sees it as a performance and decides to fight fire with fire. Shen Yi publicly breaks up with a girl, declaring they cannot even be friends, leaving the girl in tears and her friend enraged. Another student, Sun Ming, confronts him, and Shen Yi tries to explain the situation, reluctantly admitting defeat to end the conflict. He runs off pretending to be heartbroken, which leaves the girl completely flustered and confused. Sun Ming, furious, lunges to attack Shen Yi, but a teacher breaks up the fight, sending everyone to the field for their exams. His friend suggests skipping out to a comic shop, but Shen Yi feigns a stomach ache to get away. He rushes into an empty bathroom stall and summons the mysterious door once more. A shadowy figure emerges holding a strange pen and seems to be waiting for something. Meanwhile, in another world, an elf finds a gun, and as he teleports, a voice calls him human. He lands dazed in the middle of a forest. Suddenly, he hears a sound from the bushes, revealing 3 others who look just like him. He realizes they are all undead in disguise. This group hurries toward the elf village. Their mission revealed an assassination. He has been ordered to assassinate the elf chief, and his new companions question his sudden hesitation. So he puts on a crazed act, eager for the kill, barely convincing them as he realizes he is trapped. They arrive at the elven stronghold, a clear suicide mission, but a guard recognizes his medallion and opens the gates. Inside the village, he is greeted by beautiful elven women, and is quickly led toward the chief's chambers, his allies staying behind to ensure he does not flee. Caught in a deadly feud, he still hopes for a reward. He steps into a vast, dark hall alone, his expression hardening with resolve. Before a massive window stands the elven chief, who turns and welcomes the soldier from the front lines, and a new ability suddenly activates, revealing a storm of powerful titles surrounding the chief. He compares them to his own meager title, cursing the skeleton who sent him into this trap. This chief thanks him for his service, engulfing him in light, and Shen Yi is caught in powerful teleportation magic. Finding himself at a celebratory banquet with his team, they reveal the plan, attack the target during the feast, but he knows their diversion is just a chance to escape, leaving him to face the impossible odds alone. Just then, an elven woman asks the hero for a dance. An elf girl asks Shen Yi to dance, and she introduces herself as Lainey, so he offers to perform a magic trick for her instead, leading her to the center of the tavern where he calls for the attention of the entire crowd, announcing he will magically transform into a human, a feat the other elves have never seen before. This other elves whisper in suspicion and curiosity as he begins his transformation just for her, leaving Lainey completely stunned by the display. This crowd erupts as he reveals his human form, but he explains it was a simple trick. Then he points out 3 others who are also not what they seem, revealing them as undead spies in disguise. A red alert is sounded as the elven guards surround the spies, and just as the order is given, vines erupt to capture them, binding the undead spies completely, revealing a powerful elf who orchestrated the entire trap. This captured spy tries to plead his case, but the elf leader removes his crown, revealing his true form, a monstrous creature of the undead. With the crown secured, the elf leader thanks Shen Yi for his help. This other elves look on as our boy vanishes, returning to the dark space, amazed the door blended in so well. He then turns to see the red skeleton in the corner. This skeleton offers a choice of 3 powerful skills, one that grants temporary immunity to death, and another that can resurrect the fallen undead. Back in the bathroom, Shen Yi earns a new title. One of us, a temporary mind control ability. He also receives a gift from Lainey, a rare bracelet, and with his new gear he heads back to the exam. It is time for the agility test, and Heiyu dodges a barrage of purple projectiles, but his confidence gets the best of him and he fails the test, leaving Shen Yi next in line. Shen Yi feels confident, ready to use his elven footwork, as 2 school officials watch from the sidelines impressed, noting his potential despite his missed exam. But they set an impossible standard for him. A perfect score on the psychic test is his only hope. He easily aces the agility portion, but tells his friend he needs to study instead of eat. In the classroom, he is overwhelmed by this world's knowledge, when suddenly a bully kicks his desk over and he immediately suspects Zhao Yibing is behind it. This bully scoffs, slamming the door to trap him, challenging Shen Yi to a fight, strength versus agility. But Shen Yi has a plan, activating his new title, and the bullies are instantly caught in its spell. A group of bullies corners Shen Yi, vowing to kill him, but their leader cries out in pain as Shen Yi grabs him, and with a blur of motion he takes down the first attacker, effortlessly flooring the surprised bully. He holds the leader by the collar, who now begs for mercy, but Shen Yi remembers everything they did to the original him, and with a powerful throw he refuses to show any forgiveness. Just then a teacher bursts in, demanding to know what is happening, finding the bullies scattered across the floor, and he cannot believe it when Shen Yi claims to be the victim. In the crowd, Zhao Yibing realizes she has made a huge miscalculation, shocked that Shen Yi was strong enough to defeat them all, and though her plan is complete, she is stunned by his power. Her friend asks if she has any regrets about her actions, sparking a memory of a promise she made to the old Shen Yi, but she pushes it aside, convinced his life is now ruined. She claims she only regrets not seeing him as a loser sooner, just as the beaten bully is carried past on a stretcher, and he stares right at her, threatening to expose her involvement. She panics, silently begging him not to talk. As they pass, his gaze remains locked on her, and her face crumples into tears, as she loudly blames Shen Yi and calls the police. This gatekeeper of the boundless world stands ready for what is next. Meanwhile, the principal is interrupted by news of the fight and the police arriving. A man shows the principal a video of Shen Yi's fight, but what they see on the screen leaves them stunned. Back at the station, police question his motives for recording, and despite the evidence, they still want to take him in. His teacher protests, worried it will ruin his future, when the principal suddenly arrives to intervene. A long-haired man with him says Shen Yi is out of their league, introducing himself as Kyan Russian from the Human Martial Arts Group. This organization is a direct path to power and greatness, and Shen Yi senses an overwhelming aura from the man. Kyan asks for his strength stat, and Shen Yi answers with a 5, a number that leaves the others completely shocked. He then casually asks about his psychic power, and Shen Yi confidently claims a score of 3. A subtle, knowing smile crosses Kyan's face, as the others gasp in disbelief at his stats. Kyan asks for a demonstration of his psychic abilities, and Shen Yi easily makes a chair levitate. Overjoyed, Kyan breaks into song, then asks to speak with him alone. In private, Kyan lights a cigarette and asks Shen Yi about his ultimate goal in life. Instead of answering, Shen Yi reallocates his points to strength and lunges forward with a glowing red fist. But Kyan stops him cold, paralyzing him with a single touch, then pulls out a gun, ready for the next lesson. A gun clicks, pointed directly at Shen Yi's face, but a long-haired man deflects the bullet with a secret technique. Impressed, he invites Shen Yi to join the Hidden Dragon Project, a program that funnels top talent into the world's best schools. He explains the world is run by noble families with ancient power, and Shen Yi realizes his own family was once part of that world. He agrees to join, understanding that strength is the only law. This man rushes to get his parents' signature before a rival organization can, promising to return as soon as the deal is done. He speeds off in a blur, leaving Shen Yi behind. Later, Shen Yi examines a photo of a stranger making a hand sign. Sergeant Luo explains the man was likely activating something, and then he asks Shen Yi if he has checked his bag. This question makes Shen Yi nervous, wondering about the sergeant's intentions. He reallocates all his stats to agility, preparing for a quick escape, planning to stomp a portal open if he needs to flee. Suddenly, the office phone rings, shattering the tension. Shen Yi sees it as a chance to leave, but Sergeant Luo orders him to stay put, answering the call. A voice on the line delivers a death threat, and a red vortex of energy erupts around the sergeant. This window shatters as an attacker crashes into the room. A man in a floral suit declares he is here for revenge. Sergeant Luo calmly tells his team he is a bit busy, but the assassin says his life is the only explanation needed. Shen Yi finds himself back in the office alone, and he feels a strange presence in the room. Suddenly, his eyes glow with a strange green energy, a new power that compels any nearby spirit to answer him. A disembodied voice thanks him by name, and Shen Yi demands to know who is there, recognizing the familiar voice coming from a cabinet. He opens it to find the body of Sergeant Luo, whose spirit confirms it is really him, explaining he was killed by the man from the photo. This whole thing was a trap to lure Shen Yi to the station, so the assassin could learn how he survived the curse. Shen Yi explains how the station was engulfed by an ocean, but the sergeant calls it an anomaly, not sorcery. He describes anomalies as other worlds connecting to theirs, and the worst ones are calamities that bring monsters. This sergeant reveals a recent citywide disaster was a calamity, then gives Shen Yi a code for a safe room in the armory. Our boy quickly writes down the long string of characters, as the sergeant's spirit urges him to hurry before fading away. Shen Yi is left alone, processing the grim reality, and realizing that without strength he is just a target. He knows he cannot expose the killer yet, it is too dangerous, so he gently closes the cabinet, focusing on survival. Vowing revenge when a knock at the door calls him for an anomaly screening. A police captain orders his men to a system scan, telling Shen Yi he is safe as long as Luo is the target. But as he walks away, his demeanor shifts, revealing a cold, calculating look in his eyes. He peels off his face, a shapeshifter mocking the previous attacker's failure. Then he radios in, framing Shen Yi for the entire incident. An announcement orders everyone to assemble for inspection. And in the empty room, a red energy begins to form. Shen Yi peeks out, realizing the killer had accomplices, and he sprints down the empty hallway with a plan, finding a wall panel to input a secret code. Just then, he hears a noise from behind. This fake captain corners him as he fumbles with the long code, and the imposter realizes he is activating a government-level device. A blade stabs through Shen Yi's portal door, as the fake captain tries to smash his way through, bringing his weapon down with killing intent. This portal swirls, pulling Shen Yi to safety just in time. But the attacker lunges forward, screaming for his death, slamming his fist right into the solid door. He cries out in pain, his arm caught and bleeding. While on the other side, Shen Yi finally finishes the code. This passcode is verified, exposing the imposter and summoning help. And Kyan Russian appears, declaring some attacks are just too fast. This enemy is splattered across the wall as Shen Yi gives a thumbs up for the save. Shen Yi explains Sergeant Luo gave him a passcode for protection, and Kyan lights a cigarette, lamenting the sergeant's death. He reveals the assassin was after Shenyi too, a hired gun from an online league. Shenyi realizes the high price, but Kyan wonders who would target a kid. He asks about Kunlun, a government AI, learning Luo's weapon was compromised. A woman presents the sergeant's exosuit disabled by a hidden virus. This weapon reactivates the moment Luo died, confirming it was sabotage. Shenyi is enraged that the officer was left completely defenseless. Kyan officially welcomes him to their group, ready for his first lesson. This lesson is simple: be wary of humans with ill intent, and Shenyi takes the warning to heart. As they prepare to meet his parents, Shenyi asks about the other survivors. But Kyan warns him to stay away from anomaly cases. He tells a chilling story of a monster disguised in a human skin suit. Suddenly, Kyan stops in his tracks, a thought striking him. He makes a call, ordering a background check on a Zio Menjiu, and the information he receives leaves him visibly shaken. Shenyi overhears, wondering about her connection to the sergeant. At home, his parents tell Kyan there is a decision Shenyi must make first. His father presents a choice: rejoin his powerful, estranged family or stay with the group. Overwhelmed by their support, Shenyi considers his future. His mother reminds him that his family offers a life of wealth and comfort, but he signs the contract, choosing the group over his cold-hearted clan. Meanwhile, Zhao Yibing waits in a hospital hallway, tapping on her phone. She smirks as her video trends, confident she has ruined Shenyi's reputation. Zhao Yibing sends a final, gloating text, certain she will become someone they can never surpass, but a sudden notification shatters her victory. Her post is flagged for misinformation with legal threats attached, and she panics, unable to believe Shenyi had proof. Just then, the school celebrates his new contract with the martial arts group, announcing he has received offers from the top 5 high schools. Utterly defeated, Zhao Yibing collapses in a hospital hallway. Meanwhile, Shenyi gets a message about a government reward and heads to a lavish room to collect it. A famous celebrity, Su Mulin, greets him via video, encouraging him to become an important person. Shenyi recognizes her as the original him's favorite star and realizes everything in the room is tailored to the old Shenyi's tastes. Unsettled, he summons the mysterious door, stepping through into a scene of utter devastation. This skeleton's chamber is destroyed, his bones scattered everywhere. This skeleton's eye flickers, his life force fading fast. Believing this is the end in a twist of ironic fate, but Shenyi refuses to let his trading partner die, and after 2 hours, the skeleton gives up hope. Just as the door reappears with Shenyi on the other side, he has spent all his money on a giant tank of healing liquid, and the skeleton uses its magic to pull its remains through the portal. This door erupts with energy as he reforms on the other side. He steps into a new world, only to be met by hostile soldiers. And he quickly tries to explain he is a human on their side, but the leader calls him a traitor, swinging his sword down hard, until he sees the glowing dagger Shenyi uses to block the blow. This weapon proves his soul is pure, and the soldier stands down. He then offers assistance, making a strange hand gesture, which Shenyi comically misinterprets as a love confession. Realizing the gesture is linked to the mask, he decides to bluff, and the soldier immediately offers him a combat pack. Surprised it worked, Shenyi accepts the gift from the soldier, Roman. Just then, a guard shouts for everyone to make way for the Baron, a portly man on horseback who accuses Roman of delaying the battle. This Baron immediately orders Shenyi's arrest as an undead spy, threatening to torture the scout for his secrets. Surrounded, Shenyi defiantly summons his portal door. Enraged, the Baron orders his men to kill him on the spot, and the soldiers charge forward with their weapons raised, only to strike empty ground as Shenyi vanishes. This Baron is left stunned, with no explanation for his disappearance. Back in his room, Shenyi is startled by a sudden buzz. An intercom announces a visitor claiming to be Sergeant Luo's relative. Feeling indebted to the late officer, Shenyi agrees to the meeting. He hopes he can offer some comfort to the grieving family. But the woman who arrives coldly states she has already killed them all. She gives him her contact info and turns to leave, and Kyan Russian appears, admitting he was worried, explaining she is a top talent from a noble family and in Shenyi's grade. Kyan reassures him about his own potential as Shenyi heads off to bed. In his room, Shenyi broods over the power of the noble families. Realizing he needs more offensive skills to survive, he asks his skeleton friend for another ability crystal, but learns the skeleton only has undead powers he cannot use. Frustrated, he worries about the assassins on his tail. When he suddenly remembers the pack Roman gave him, he empties the bag, searching for anything useful, and discovers a glowing green nightmare crystal. He crushes it, hoping for a powerful new skill, but it is just a message signing him up for a spy guild. He decides it is the perfect chance to explore the nightmare realm. This skeleton questions his motives, but Shenyi admits he needs help. He steps through the portal into a desolate wasteland, a battlefield littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. Survivors carry their wounded from the field, urging them to hold on until they reach base camp. Shenyi hides, worried about being recognized by the soldiers. He quietly moves through the carnage, while strange figures interrogate the dead about a missing mask. Overwhelmed, Shenyi collapses behind a rock, clutching his leg in exhaustion. A lone soldier despairs on a dark battlefield when a sudden sound catches his attention. It is a werewolf, and he gets a brilliant idea. He asks the beast to help him find the owner of a mask, and the wolf points him toward a severed arm. This soldier approaches the limb, hoping his magic will work, and the severed hand begins to twitch, making a familiar hand sign that confirms its identity. With its last bit of life, the arm points him forward, leading him to a pair of discarded boots. He grabs the foul-smelling footwear and feels something hidden deep inside, discovering a small disc and a card. This discovery unlocks a new ability. Item lore, revealing the disc is a key for a special weapon. Elsewhere, a soldier interrogates undead skeletons, but his skull companion offers to provide the intel instead. This soldier is suspicious, but the skull insists it is a good deal, revealing the undead are upgrading their soulfire cannons. He questions the intel's value, but the skull says it is just confirmation, then explains a dark ritual used to restore their forces. This soldier stands before a giant fallen monster, a plan forming in his mind. But he is quickly defeated, wondering why he is trying so hard for a small part. Lying wounded, he calls for help as other soldiers rush to his side. He awakens in a bed, fully healed, greeted by a noble in the human camp. A prince named Norton questions Shen Yi's origins, and Shen Yi delivers a desperate plea for help. As an old mage examines the message crystal, projecting a call for aid from Lord Lawrence of Rhine. This mage confirms the message is authentic, but the prince delivers devastating news. His home has been completely destroyed. Shen Yi feigns despair, earning the prince's sympathy, who praises his survival as a miracle. This prince offers him a safe place in the rear lines, but Shen Yi refuses, vowing to stay and fight. He declares his thirst for vengeance against the undead, impressing the onlookers with his passionate plea. This prince asks him to demonstrate his skills, and Shen Yi unleashes his elven footwork. Blurring past the guards with incredible speed, he lands before the prince, asking if he has proven his worth. This elf vouches for him, offering to take him under her wing, and the prince agrees, amazed by his talent. This elf then notices his bracelet, a gift from Lainey. A projection of Lainey appears from the bracelet, confirming his story about helping the elves. This elf vouches for him, securing his place in the army. But when asked his name, Shen Yi fakes amnesia to hide his identity. As Shen Yi departs, the elf and her companion watch him go, and the prince recognizes his dagger as a high-ranking assassin's weapon. Shen Yi finds the Shadowhand's tent, a secret outpost, and nervously flashes the secret hand sign he bluffed with before. This man inside returns the gesture, asking what news he brings. Shen Yi presents intel on the undead's upgraded cannons, and the man asks what he wants in return for the information. He is offered a dagger that fakes death, but he is unimpressed, then shown a magical horse that emerges from a bottle. Next are special glasses that can see valuables through clothing, but Shen Yi just wants nightmare crystals for new skills. This man offers a red crystal for a bleeding ability, and a blue one for a frostwind kick, as a familiar voice urges him to choose, so Shen Yi pays extra to acquire both of the crystals. He then asks his skeleton friend for an undead ability, and the skeleton grants him Shadow Mirage, creating a duplicate. This shadowy clone leaps through the trees with purple energy, but it quickly dissipates, seeming useless to Shen Yi. Back in his world, a friend texts to congratulate him, and they make plans to meet for lunch in the lobby. He heads down, seeing a group of people waiting ahead. A large, muscular man is talking to a woman in a cowboy hat, and he awkwardly asks her out to dinner. She responds by pulling a gun, threatening to skin him alive, then calmly asks Shen Yi if she should let his friend through security. A woman in a hat tells a young man she will get Shen Yi herself, explaining manager Kyan gave her strict orders to keep him safe. His friend Chen Heiyu arrives, amazed by the lavish headquarters. He congratulates Shen Yi on his contract, eager to see his new room. This elevator doors open to a crowd of other members, and Chen Heiyu marvels at the idea of living on the 105th floor. Just then, Shen Yi's phone buzzes with a notification, a message from Zio Menju containing a video file. This text suggests a nurse was silenced because of him, flashing back to Chen Heiyu walking nervously through the school. This message continues, they are running checks on everyone close to him. It reveals someone was suspiciously searching the school for him yesterday. Shen Yi realizes it was Chen Heiyu, wondering why his friend was looking for him. As they reach the door, Chen Heiyu points it out excitedly, then suddenly attacks, striking Shen Yi with a deadly purple blade. This Shen Yi he struck dissolves into purple energy, revealing the real Shen Yi standing unharmed as Chen Heiyu's body falls. A colleague suggests Shen Yi's death sense might be useful here. Later, Shen Yi uses his power on a corpse in the morgue, but the body is suddenly engulfed in a torrent of hellfire. This flames burn away the flesh, leaving only a skeleton. A small skull explains this is a curse for defying a dark master. This soul is doomed to endless cycles of torment for millions of years, and unable to bear it, the spirit screams that he will tell them everything. This flames subside, leaving Shen Yi to begin his interrogation. Shen Yi stares at his phone, the skull icon gloating that their target has cracked. He uses his power on the captured assassin, demanding every last detail. This scene flashes back to a few minutes earlier on a dormitory rooftop, where Zhao Yibing texts her contact, Mr. Han, about her failure to trap Shen Yi. Mr. Han summons her to a hotel, leaving her anxious about the meeting. But a sudden call brings incredible news. She has been accepted into an elite program. Overcome with gratitude, she tearfully agrees to meet Mr. Han that night. Just then, a mysterious woman with purple hair appears behind her, demanding her phone as Zhao Yibing lashes out in defiance. This woman draws her sword in a flash of cold steel, stopping the blade just inches from Zhao Yibing's terrified face. She delivers a chilling ultimatum, the phone or her nose. As Zhao Yibing threatens to call the police, her phone suddenly rings, and the woman answers a call from Shen Yi, who has caught an assassin. Zhao Yibing realizes with horror that Shen Yi sent this woman for revenge. Back in the interrogation room, Shen Yi's grip cracks his phone screen. He glares at the captive, demanding to know who hired him. This assassin reveals only the head of the operation knows the full plan. Furious, Shen Yi dismisses the spirit, which fades into nothing. Meanwhile, at the lavish Maplewood Hotel, a meeting is underway. A man with silver hair sips from a glass of red wine, complimenting the exquisite taste of his blood cocktail. He is dining with a woman in a nurse's uniform, their meal disturbingly grotesque, but his sinister monologue is cut short by a buzzing phone, an urgent message ordering him to handle the target personally. A new assassin learns 3 of his men have failed, and his client offers a girl as part of the payment. A sight that leaves the killer completely stunned. Calling her a beautiful, innocent lamb, he quickly regains his composure, while Shen Yi sets up a new device with a poetic activation phrase. This system accepts the code, transforming into a new shape, materializing a high-tech motorcycle for our boy. Elsewhere, a woman with blue hair reflects on Zhao Yibing's fate, knowing the girl's choices are leading her to ruin. In a grand hall, the assassin's target appears with her butler. And as she approaches, he senses a powerful sword intent aimed at him. He offers her a spot in a top school, accelerating his plan. This assassin's cold gaze reveals his true intentions as he gently holds the unsuspecting girl's face. Suddenly, a blade of pure energy slices through the air, revealing his twisted desire to savor her power. But the blue-haired woman stands in his way, blocking his attack with a whirlwind of energy. He demands she hand over the girl, citing the Luo family, but the swordswoman prepares to test his theory, ready to see who can truly handle her blade. This assassin despairs over losing his masterpiece, as a new chapter of the story begins. He stares down the swordswoman, asking if she is serious, and she stands her ground, forcing him to laugh at the complication. She coldly asks if he is afraid of the consequences, but he professes his twisted devotion to her instead. Her threat to kill him only seems to excite him more as he scoops up his target, promising to return for his new love. Elsewhere, Shen Yi broods on a rooftop under a stormy sky. He is worried about Zhao Menjiu, who is not answering his calls. He feels the weight of the deaths connected to him, and just as he vows to protect her, his phone suddenly rings. A child's voice asks for help finding her mother, and Shen Yi immediately springs into action. He leaps from the rooftop, startling his skull companion, plummeting toward the city streets below. He runs down the side of the building with impossible speed, landing on his bike and racing through the night. He pulls up to the address the caller gave him. A small girl confirms she is the one who called, and she tearfully asks for help finding her mother. When his own call goes unanswered, the girl pleads for his help. He orders his bike to take her to a safe location, gently reassuring the frightened child. He promises to find her mom and bring her back safely. This young girl tearfully agrees to his plan, and as she rides off, Shen Yi feels responsible for her mother's fate. Hearing a battle at the hotel, he decides to charge in alone. He steps into the grand, silent lobby of the Maplewood Hotel. A hostess greets him, but his skeleton warns she is already dead, revealing their master killed them all for decoration. She explains they are programmed to serve guests until given new orders. A crash from above signals his chance to find room 707. Shen Yi sprints past the undead staff member, kicking down the door to the target's room. Inside, he discovers a gruesome pile of bodies. His eyes widen in pure shock and horror. A spirit with glowing eyes begs him for vengeance. He vows to protect her daughter, but the spirit is confused, revealing she was the one who summoned him for help. Just then, the ceiling collapses as a fighter plummets down. It is the blue-haired swordswoman wounded from the fight. She unleashes a blast of red energy to defend herself as the silver-haired assassin emerges from the dust. He licks his lips, enjoying the thrill of the hunt. He starts a countdown, giving her 10 seconds to hide. Meanwhile, Shen Yi opens a portal in a ruined hallway. He tells his skeleton to scavenge for armor, much to its annoyance. Back in the nightmare realm, a man cries for help for a dying woman. His soldiers recognize Shen Yi, calling him the boy who lived, a title he cannot seem to shake. A healer notes the royal insignia on the coin pouch, and the group agrees, unleashing a powerful green magic. Shen Yi is suddenly struck with overwhelming regret, but the healer declares the magic a success. Zhao Menjiu slowly opens her eyes, and in a flash of movement, she holds a blade to Shen Yi's throat, demanding answers. She touches her chest, stunned, her wounds are completely gone. This gatekeeper of the boundless worlds faces his next trial. Back in the present, she asks for the mastermind's name, but Shen Yi just waves goodbye, wishing her luck in the fight. This assassin is shocked, certain he had injured her far worse. She watches him, surprised he managed to dodge her attack. With glowing red eyes, he lunges forward for a twisted embrace. Meanwhile, the healers discuss Shen Yi's incredible generosity, and their leader reveals he returned the gold, adding a blessing. His companions are stunned by the news, as they all confess to giving her blessings of their own, a convergence that creates a powerful amplification spell. It is the Holy Guardian, doubling her power for 3 hours. One of them panics, knowing the spell is forbidden for commoners. But the leader frames it as a gift, hoping Shen Yi keeps their secret. In the battle, Zhao Menjiu deflects a barrage of dark energy, as the assassin unleashes a horrifying wedding hymn of tormented souls. It is the Blood Fiend's eternal curse, a torrent of pure agony. This assassin's power is fueled by the screams of his victims, and he moves with blinding speed, trying to place a ring on her finger. but he recoils in pain, realizing a second blade was hidden inside the first. A deadly trap she had set for him. He uses a bloodfiend curse to instantly heal his wounds, declaring himself invincible as he is surrounded by tormented souls. But the swordswoman is not impressed, ready for his next move, and she channels immense power into her glowing blade. She unleashes a massive arc of blue energy, forcing the assassin to begin a dark ritual, and she watches with alarm as he offers a blood sacrifice. A monstrous, many-eyed beast emerges from the shadows, and she knows she has no time to dodge its attack. This scene cuts to a blue-haired DJ hyping up a crowd, as the monster looms over the swordswoman ready to strike, while the DJ shouts into his microphone, completely unaware. In a flash of blue light, the beast is destroyed, leaving the assassin stunned. This blue-haired DJ suddenly appears, telling her to run while he holds him off. Enraged, the assassin threatens to kill the boy's parents if he flees, escalating his threats to the boy's entire family. This boy paces nervously, told he is too weak to join the fight, and he reluctantly agrees, knowing he is powerless. He then proposes a deal to his skull companion, help it recover its power, and the skull realizes he plans to use the bodies in the hotel for a ritual. This skull confirms the souls are trapped, but it is too weak to act, so the boy vows to find a way. This blue-haired DJ agrees to buy some time for the ritual, warning Shen Yi over the phone not to rush into a fight he cannot win. His skull companion reluctantly accepts the humiliating plan to regain its power. As the phone records, a magical ring begins to glow brightly, and the assassin realizes someone is controlling the corpses with an incantation. This DJ sprints through the hall as the Soulfare ritual ignites, dodging a barrage of spectral attacks from the killer. But the assassin is relentless, using his power to close the distance instantly, and brutally impales the boy as Xiao Menjiu screams Shen Yi's name in horror. She stares in shock, paralyzed by the sudden, violent attack, but the real Shen Yi emerges from the dust, completely unharmed. This wounded assassin can only stare, realizing his foe has summoned a calamity. A colossal skeleton warrior towers over them, Shen Yi's ultimate trump card. This giant creature scoffs at the assassin's pathetic threads of power, and with Shen Yi on its shoulder, it looms over the defeated killer. This villain looks up, his confidence completely shattered. This skeleton declares it does not need to lift a finger for an insect, as the souls of the dead begin to rise from the corpses below. Xiao Menjiu finds herself trapped in a crowd of the reanimated dead, while the assassin is suddenly ensnared by his own bloody threads. This horde of undead begins to hoist him into the air, a sight that even seems to startle Shen Yi. They swarm the helpless killer, tearing into him with dark energy, pulling him into a swirling vortex of pure torment. This skull companion urges Shen Yi to immobilize him before he casts another spell. Shen Yi points, giving the final command. Vowing to avenge Chen Heiyu with one last strike, he stands awkwardly with his weapons as his skeleton seems confused, and Shen Yi admits he missed, ordering a flame attack instead. This giant skeleton raises its sword, channeling immense power, and unleashes a blast that incinerates the Skinner. But as the enemy dies, dark tendrils lash out from its corpse, forcing the skeleton to use a bone embrace to save Shen Yi from the ambush. His companion then points to a new arrival on the roof, a mysterious purple-haired woman who seems to be an ally. Shen Yi calls out, asking the helper to reveal herself. He is shocked to learn the little girl he saved is no ordinary child, when suddenly his phone buzzes with a message from Xiao Menjiu, a video file revealing the truth she uncovered. In the video, a woman named Song Qingyun is asked about her ideal partner, and she pauses, a fond memory coming to mind. Recalling how Shen Yi once bravely protected her when they were young, she confesses her ideal boyfriend would be someone just like him. A man in a suit overhears, demanding to know who this Shen Yi is, and learns that despite being average, he has won Qingyun's affection. Enraged, the man orders his subordinates to keep Shen Yi away from her, deciding to hire someone to stage a fatal accident. Shen Yi stands in the rain, stunned by the absurdly petty motive. Just then, the spirits of the hotel victims materialize before him, thanking him for their revenge but begging to know why they were killed. Shen Yi reflects on his own weakness, remembering being overwhelmed by the undead horde, as their souls thank him for their release. Finally freed from the curse that bound them, this blue-haired boy listens as the swordswoman pieces things together, and he demands to know who their enemies are, but she only knows they are from powerful, noble families. She laments the price of truth, facing families she cannot fight alone, then turns to leave, satisfied that the hit squad is dead. As she departs, the boy's skeleton teases him for scaring her off, and he decides it is time for them to leave too. He tries to brush it all off as a misunderstanding, but his companion is not buying it, so he tells the skeleton to hide and thanks a mysterious, unseen ally. From a rooftop high above, a girl watches his motorcycle speed away, sighing that Shen Yi has finally grown up. Perched atop a lonely tower in the rain, a pink aura surrounds her as she recalls he was even dumber as a kid. While the rooftop observer agrees that the kid is pretty dumb, a voice from her headphones asks if she is going to see him, but she is confident the swordswoman will not betray Shen Yi. Meanwhile, in a dark room, blood drips into a pool, revealing a horrific scene above a crimson bath. This wounded assassin looks up in shock as a dark presence calls him a fool, and he kneels, thanking his dark master for not abandoning him. This bloodied assassin questions his master's late arrival, and the master is revealed to be Zhao Yibing. He grovels before her, calling her a deity. As she commands him to be her guide, she explains he is now a flesh puppet she resurrected, a vessel with a monstrous, hungry maw in its chest, one that must be fed 1,000 human souls. A sinister voice laughs, finally free and ready to feast on the world. Meanwhile, Shenyi sits exhausted on a rainy balcony. He is furious that noble families treat death like a game. Just then, his uncle calls with a demand. He must publicly apologize to those very nobles. Shenyi realizes his family is sacrificing him for their own gain and that an apology would make him a justifiable target. His uncle dismisses his questions, confirming his worst fears. But a sudden video call interrupts his dark thoughts, an invitation to a wild midnight party. He tries to decline, but they insist on picking him up. This scene shifts to a dark forest, where a giant skeleton appears. Shenyi thanks the creature for its help and they part ways. This skeleton vanishes into the misty woods. Suddenly, a cage of bones erupts from the ground, and a royal title is bestowed upon the boy who lived. Realizing the power of his new status, he vows to assassinate the emperor. A knight's laughter is cut short by a crushing grip, as a demonic leader mocks his ignorance to his skeletal minions. He asks what capitalists did to earn such intense hatred. This knight screams that they forced him into a 996 schedule. This demon leader feigns horror, then admits he does not know what that is. Shenyi explains the brutal reality of a 9-to-9 6-day work week. Even the demon has to admit that sounds pretty rough, but Shenyi reveals he also endured the dreaded 7. This demon is appalled to learn this means working 24/7 with no breaks. He offers a sympathetic hug, which Shenyi gratefully accepts. This demon asks how he possibly survived such a brutal existence. Shenyi's eyes fill with tears, recalling a painful memory, a time when he was a child, freezing and alone in the snow. He was saved by his skeleton companion, Fern, who he now fiercely protects. A scout reports to the demon leader, confirming Shenyi's story is true. This leader is genuinely moved, declaring he is proud of them both. Fern asks if terrifying capitalists are real, and Shenyi confirms they are. This skeleton shudders, terrified of the undead adopting such a system. Suddenly, a squad of holy knights appears, calling Shenyi a traitor. He looks up, recognizing the man leading the charge, Prince Norton, who identifies him as the boy who lived. This prince demands the truth, promising death for any lies. Shenyi introduces Fern as his undead informant, claiming they have a contract. An old mage confirms Shenyi's words are true thanks to a truth spell. This knights murmur in awe, amazed the legendary hero has an undead ally. An elven woman asks if he got intel from the undead, and she vouches for his pure soul to her highness. This boy explains his skull companion was treated unfairly, as the skull remembers its past trauma, shouting that it suffered from the dreaded 996. An old man explains the undead are perfect for exploitation, as the skull describes a brutal 9-to-9 6-day work week. This prince can only stare, shocked by the cruelty. But the skull reveals it got even worse with 7. A 24/7 work schedule with no breaks horrifies the entire group. This prince offers the skull a hug, asking how it survived, and a poster reveals its answer: it chose to rebel. A system message grants the boy a new, ridiculous title, as the prince asks the skull for proof of its identity. These soldiers are stunned, realizing the prince is about to bestow a name, but the boy desperately begs him not to choose a certain name. This prince offers Lowly as an alternative, explaining a legend of 2 divine children who saved the world. Since he dislikes Lowly, the prince settles on Peppa, a name that reminds the boy of a pig-shaped hairdryer. This royal knights raise their swords in a salute as the prince and his followers declare him Saint Peppa. This prince then warns him to be careful and report back for rewards, handing him a letter as a token of their new alliance. As they leave, the skull teases him with his new name. Shenyi tells his companion to stop calling him that name, but the skull cheekily calls him Peppa anyway, flying past him as he steps through the portal. He enters with a determined look on his face. Leaving the strange forest behind him, a system message suddenly congratulates him, revealing he survived sieges from both humans and the undead, earning the trust of both sides and a new title. Time suddenly resumes its normal flow. And a message confirms the trial is over. Shenyi asks his companion how it felt but gets no response. Elsewhere, a man discusses a talented girl hidden by the Archaeology Association. This association wields immense power, excavating ancient ruins. He wonders how Zhao Yibing has such connections, deciding to ask Zio Menjiu. Shenyi ponders this new information, a memory of the rain flashing through his mind. He gets a call. They will arrive at their destination in 10 hours. He is warned not to face Zhao Yibing alone, and reminded that the human martial arts group is his new family. Shenyi scoffs at the flattery, deciding to get some sleep, but his rest is interrupted by a buzzing phone. It is Zhao Yibing again, relentlessly texting him. He decides to send an old photo to throw her off, letting her chase a version of him that no longer exists. But another message immediately comes through. He sees a familiar face, convinced it is no coincidence. A memory of his younger self flashes before his eyes. At that moment, his phone buzzes again. He sees her location is 60 miles away, an impossible distance, and the mystery leaves him completely drained. He collapses on the couch, too tired to think anymore. He tells himself she cannot possibly get to him now, but at a distant temple, she stares at her screen with purpose. Elsewhere, a dark voice promises its victim cannot run. Blood defiles the sacred statues in the dark. as the hunter vows to find them no matter what. This scene shifts to a snowy temple long ago. A firecracker explodes in the winter night, and a young Shen Yi runs with a sparkler in hand. His joyful moment is suddenly interrupted. He spots two young girls hiding in fear. A monstrous wolf-like beast stalks them from the shadows, and Shen Yi screams, running to their defense. He bravely stands between the girls and the creature, as the monster lunges with its jaws wide open. And the memory cuts to black with a splash of blood. A voice notes the kid's insane luck, surviving dozens of bites. As he lies in a hospital bed staring at the ceiling, this doctor confirms he was just inches from death. His parents look down, their faces etched with worry. These two girls he saved visit him in the hospital, exchanging handmade cards as a thank you. He waves goodbye as they drive away into the snow, and the memory fades as someone wakes him from his sleep, leaving him to wonder what became of those two girls. This scene shifts to a luxurious airship high in the sky. Inside, the setting is opulent and calm, and Shen Yi is blown away by the incredible feast. He devours the food until he cannot eat another bite. Just then, another boy asks if he can have the leftovers, revealing this ship is full of candidates from powerful groups. This new arrival introduces himself as part of Eternity Tech. This name clearly gets his companion's attention. He dismisses the boys, needing to speak with the adults, so the boy invites Shen Yi to explore the airship with him. He introduces himself as Guo Yunai in a massive bowling alley. Guo Yunai then reveals his true motive for asking for food, a secret mission to get a unique card from the rookie deck. He offers to explain the system to a confused Shen Yi, and a blank card materializes in Shen Yi's hand. Our boy immediately starts looking for an angle, pointing to a high air vent and proposing a challenge. Guo Yunai scoffs at the dare but readily accepts. He gets into a starting position, ready to prove his skill, and with a burst of speed, he sprints across the floor. A blue-haired student mocks another's failed jump in the training hall. Nearby, a cocky student boasts he can easily clear the height. His friends are skeptical, but he insists he is a former athlete. This argument escalates into a public challenge, drawing attention. A dark-haired boy receives a new system mission. As the blue-haired student gathers a crowd for an impromptu event, he announces a free workshop on relationship red flags. This clever idea is a huge success, and the crowd roars with approval. From a balcony above, two instructors watch the rookie's antics. They praise the blue-haired kid's ingenuity in completing his mission. This older man reveals these recruits are children of fallen heroes, and his partner worries about the accidents common in the exam. This scene shifts to a massive airship where Shen Yi steps out for air. Suddenly, a card in his hand begins to glow with dark energy, materializing into his provisional id, making him look like a villain. He learns that becoming an official member guarantees admission to a top academy. Realizing it is a golden ticket, he asks about the competition, and discovers there are only 54 slots for thousands of examinees. He is stunned by the insane gap between nobles and commoners. A thought strikes him: if all the scions are here, she must be too. He searches the system, and a new card begins to form. It is Zio Menjiu, the undisputed #1 swordmaster with 5 stars. Shen Yi groans, jealous of her cool profile compared to his. He immediately finds the friend request button and sends an invite. A system message confirms a new friend, Zio Menjiu, who is surprised to see him in the rookie deck. Shen Yi explains he was just learning the card system, and she suggests he check out the rookie rankings to get a feel for the competition. He pulls up the list, surprised to see a master like Zio Menjiu is only ranked 5th. He checks the #1 profile, Nangong Surui, heir to a powerful family, but his admiration turns to shock as he reads the words eldest son. He reels back, screaming in disbelief that the #1 is a guy. Shen Yi complains about how good-looking his new rival is, realizing he is the only 6-star member and vowing to raise his own rating fast. This reminds him of an incomplete technique he possesses, and he decides to try performing it right there on the deck. A system message confirms his new status as an official member. His official 1-star rookie card appears, showing him with a maniacal grin. Shen Yi cringes at his own portrait, embarrassed by the cocky expression. He suddenly gets friend requests from 2 others who are floored that he is already a 1-star. Just then, his guide announces they have arrived at their destination. Golden streaks of light suddenly fly past the airship, which are revealed to be examinee passes, marking the start of their observation period. He learns they will be rated until the banquet, with high scores earning rewards for the real exam. This exam format is a total mystery, changing wildly every year, but his guide reassures him that his 1-star status guarantees some kind of benefit. A card materializes in his hands, glowing with power as the system integrates him into the deck. A glowing blue card materializes in his hand. His first quest is to take an Azure Dragon for a joyride. His companion tells him to ignore the impossible Tarot Tower quests, explaining only nobles with vast resources can complete them. Shen Yi scoffs at the unfair system, deciding to get a new quest, but each new option is more ridiculous than the last, until a simple sparring match appears, but it is a trap for rookies. He sweats, realizing he is cornered by the system, when a new challenger's name suddenly appears: Zio Menjiu. This cover art shows Shen Yi surrounded by dark power. He is stunned, wondering why Zio Menjiu would challenge him. Elsewhere, a brawler taunts her, ready to farm a low-level player, and he throws a punch charged with purple energy, but she dodges his attack with incredible ease. His clothes are shredded, but his skin is untouched by her precise swordsmanship. With a single word, she sends the bullies running in terror. Shen Yi nervously asks if they have to fight and she teases him mercilessly, but she reveals her true motive with a knowing smile, explaining that while they are in combat, no one else can interfere. He realizes she is using a loophole to protect him. They stand before a door marked with the number 9. And he reveals Zhao Yibing sent a message, linking her to the Skinner's disappearance. Shen Yi realizes if Zhao Yibing is alive, the Skinner must be too, and Zhao Menjiu confirms it is very likely, adding that the Skinner cuts all communications to hide his kills. She then reveals noble families want to engage her to a powerful senior member, a recently widowed man in his 50s, which disgusts Shen Yi. He panics when she says she only asked for time to think. But she explains it was the only way to buy time while she is weak. A sudden burst of purple light catches him off guard, as she offers to teach him her family's secret sword technique. A title card for the series flashes on screen. Shen Yi worries it will cause problems for her, leaving Zhao Menjiu momentarily speechless, but she tells him not to worry about her when he is the one in danger. He smiles, insisting he just does not want her to get into trouble. She turns away, seemingly touched by his concern. She thinks about how he is repaying her kindness with worry, calling him an idiot. Shen Yi agrees to learn but points out he does not have a sword. She demonstrates the technique, asking if he understands the basics. His new official card appears, showing a cocky, villainous portrait. He is thrilled to learn he can change his appearance with the card, but trying it makes him slam his face into the floor as she laughs. Suddenly he collapses, bleeding from the head, his last thought being that he is about to die. But a cold sensation brings him back, a blue light entering his body, an icy breath that keeps the darkness from consuming his mind. He focuses on a new breathing method, and a system message confirms he has mastered an ocular art, evolving his incomplete technique into its final, powerful form. It is an incredibly rare legacy art, upgrading all his skills. His new kick, Frostbite, can freeze and slow his targets, while Moonflow lets him move like a phantom across the battlefield. Overwhelmed by it all, Shen Yi decides to wash the blood off first. He stares at his reflection, amazed by his new intense gaze. Testing his power, he summons a system screen in the mirror, and while he can now see title descriptions, he spots something else. A mysterious red thread wrapped tightly around his neck. It is a tracking spell from a deity, allowing instant teleportation to his location. Meanwhile, at a high-stakes casino downtown, a group of powerful men discuss the botched assassination on Shen Yi. A blonde man folds his hand, blaming his useless servants for the failure. His associates agree they should not have to clean up the League's mess. One of them orders a call to the League of Assassins headquarters. A hologram of director Gong Wu appears, greeting the pillars of the world. He is confronted about the leak and admits he personally executed the failed assassin. Learning Shen Yi is at the exams, Gong Wu vows to finish the job for good. His clients remain skeptical, deciding to send their own people to supervise. One declares all commoners should die as the scene shifts to the League's ocean base. Inside, Director Gong Wu sighs, a similar red thread visible around his neck. A white-haired man appears in a swirl of dark energy, whom Gong Wu calls Master. But a dark-haired woman appears, questioning this new master's promises. A white-haired man sweats, trying to downplay his words, but his master demands he honor his promise even in disguise. Back with Shen Yi, a system message confirms a spell has been broken, and he realizes the Skinner's threads were controlling him. His card updates with a new, ominous rating. Prey lingering before the trap, a title that reflects his new awareness. This image on the card begins to morph and chain. Revealing his new 5-star profile and a provisional rank of 11th, Shen Yi is stunned by the massive jump in his power level. His new rank grants him special privileges for the upcoming exam, and a private message reveals his arcane eyes triggered the promotion. In the training hall, an instructor lays out the ultimate goal: admission to one of the 3 legendary high schools. Shen Yi learns these schools are ancient and unmatched in power. This instructor explains the floating Ethel High is the strongest of all, a place where the children of elites study the arts of the gods. Nader High is located in the abyss, focused on lost history, but its graduates often fall into the hands of dangerous cults. This instructor explains the importance of resonance with ancient power, telling Shen Yi to pick a technique as a backup for the exam. A system message highlights one manual as excellent quality, and Shen Yi realizes he has stumbled upon something special. This lesson ends abruptly with a reminder about the banquet tonight. Just then, he gets a message from Zhao Menjiu about the Skinner, and on his way to the gym, he passes a mysterious old man on the street. Shen Yi offers his last bit of change to a cloaked old man, but as he walks away, the old man remains eerily still, and a sudden realization hits our boy, as a coin flies back at his head with lethal force. This old man senses the counterattack, a blade materializing behind him, and he effortlessly deflects the coin with a glowing sword, revealing Shen Yi perched high above on a telephone pole. This old man is impressed he could see the attack, but Shen Yi calls out the ambush. Learning the man was testing him for neglecting Zhao Menjiu, a system message grants the old man a new title, Lord of the Empyrean Flame, while Shen Yi's own power manifests as the Celestial Shadow. This old man readies his flaming sword for a final clash, but instead he simply says goodbye, launching himself into the sky like a fiery comet. He lands on a distant rooftop, vowing his family will never be underestimated again. A few minutes earlier, Shenyi heard a strange humming from the training hall, wondering about the mysterious arcane realm that grants these titles. Zio Menjiu reveals the dark history of an assassin whose family was brutally murdered, and how he took revenge, wiping out an entire noble family in their town. She could not access the full file on the altar incident, and warns Shenyi that his enemies will soon know he is taking the exam. He thanks her for the information, a grateful smile on his face. Leaving Zio Menjiu alone with her thoughts, she recalls her tragic past, a dead mother and a comatose father. As Shenyi reveals a powerful family is forcing her into a marriage, offering a way out. She asks if he is not afraid of offending her powerful family, but he scoffs at the threat, telling her to leave them behind. She is struck by his rugged charm and surprisingly warm nature. As he nervously admits he does not actually have a plan for their date, she calls him out for his impulsiveness, but he insists he is sincere. As she teases him, her communicator suddenly starts to buzz, and a fiery vision appears of her thanking her grandfather for his teachings. She explains her grandfather just visited to teach her a sword style. Shenyi suddenly realizes the old man he fought was her grandfather. A genuine, carefree smile spreads across her face. This scene shifts to a massive floating island in the night sky. A masked man appears, teasing Shenyi about his date, but his tone turns serious, warning him to watch his back tonight. They enter a massive, opulent hall filled with other examinees. Shenyi is stunned by the sheer scale of the banquet. His guide explains this party is a hunting ground for the nobles. A flash of a bloody massacre crosses Shenyi's mind, just as a large student steps forward to block his path. A cocky 4-star rookie named Wang Jiayuan holds up a hostage, and he publicly challenges Shenyi in front of everyone. But a flash of purple light instantly slices off his hair. An attack so fast no one even saw Zio Menjiu draw her sword. This bully's friends quickly urge him to back down. Just then, someone points to a leaderboard appearing in the hall. It shows Zio Menjiu is ranked in the second tier, one of the top 5 fighters. A title card shows a brutal 3-way brawl, leaving Shenyi and Zio Menjiu completely speechless. This fight ends with a monk beaten on the floor, and Shenyi taunts the victor about his poor aim. He then turns to face a woman in a black dress, who accuses him of setting a monster on the Song Sisters years ago. She tries to trap him in front of the press. As the crowd murmurs about his connection to the powerful Song family, he is offered a guaranteed exam spot to stay away from her. But Shenyi says he will need her help with that, cheekily asking for a photo since he cannot remember her. This entire room is left stunned by his audacity, and a reporter starts a rumor that he has amnesia. Suddenly, Shenyi steps up as a challenger, and the elders in the crowd gasp in disbelief. His opponent realizes Shenyi can see his invisible spirit snake. Zio Menjiu understands he has awakened the arcane eyes. As Shenyi taunts his foe, ready for a real fight, he leaps into the air, dodging a powerful staff attack, and lands perfectly on the weapon with a massive shockwave. His friends cry out his name in alarm, but through the dust he is already gone, leaving his opponent completely bewildered. Shenyi appears behind him, grabbing him by the collar, and lifts him into the air as the crowd watches in horror. A woman watches the scene, knowing everything is at stake, as her plan requires Shenyi to kill the boy in front of him. But Shenyi just bursts into hysterical laughter, mocking them for only stopping the duel when he chose not to kill. This woman gives the beaten boy a pill, telling him to heal for the exam. A system message announces the final rewards are being distributed, granting everyone a meat card that allows 3 hits before death. All candidates then receive an eternal kindled flame for light, and the flames descend upon the confused students in the hall. A system message declares the exam has officially begun. Stage 1 is revealed, reach the floating island below or face elimination. Shenyi scoffs at the noble's predictable tactics, but he is suddenly stabbed from behind by another student. He retaliates with a frostbite kick as his meat effect activates. His attackers gloat, knowing he only has 2 charges left. Just then, he gets a team invitation from Zio Menjiu, and he vanishes in a flash of light, leaving his enemies baffled. He lands hard in front of Zio Menjiu, his wounds already healing. She explains his arcane eyes are a sign of immense power from the universe's core. Shenyi is left stunned by the massive revelation. He then sees a strange vision of 2 shadowy figures in a red void. Meanwhile, other candidates panic, seeing 4 people have already passed. These rookies begin to show off their unique travel methods, as the sky fills with examinees flying toward the island. Shenyi and Zio Menjiu arrive on a bike, finding the island covered in giant statues. A strange symbol on a statue glows with purple light, as the statue crumbles, cursing them before it falls apart. Suddenly, 2 familiar men appear in the mist, greeting Shenyi by name, but their forms shift, revealing the Skinner and Zhao Yibing. And Zhao Yibing's eyes glow with an eerie green light. Tears stream down her face as she whispers that she is already dead. Realizing it is an undead ability, they are warned to run, but the Skinner's red threads instantly trap them in a deadly web. This undead Zhao Yibing grabs Shenyi's head, ready to take something back. Forcing his mouth open as he struggles against her grip, he is completely paralyzed, unable to fight back. Just then, a powerful force blasts her away from him, as a system message declares combat is forbidden in this stage. This Skinner scoffs at the rules, vowing to let them live for now, but promises he can come back for their heads at any time. A system message reveals the tracking spell placed on him, forcing them to race to the next stage to gain an advantage. As they run, Zio Menju calls out Shen Yi's name, and with a determined gaze, she vows to protect him. He smiles, readily accepting her protection as they press on. Elsewhere, two other candidates beg a statue for a different quest, but the stone god refuses, demanding a grotesque offering. Meanwhile, Shen Yi kicks over another statue until a candidate calls him to one with a sword. Watching his defiance, the other boys realize the test's true goal is not obedience, but finding the right god. As Zio Menju steps forward to make her plea, her plea to the statue gets no reaction, so Shen Yi tells her to address the sword instead. She introduces herself, asking for protection through the labyrinth, and the massive stone sword begins to glow, shattering to reveal a smaller blade within. A message from the sword spirit gives them a simple task, then warns them to find shelter immediately. Shen Yi realizes he needs a statue for his lunar legacy, telling Zio Menju to go on while he searches. He is left alone, wondering what this legacy truly is, but other candidates are eliminated, wasting his precious time. He gives up, deciding to head for the shelter instead. A title card for the series flashes on screen. Suddenly, a monstrous creature with many eyes emerges from the river, and Zio Menju knows it is hunting Shen Yi. She draws her blade, determined to stop it. Her attack slices into its massive, eye-covered arm. This blow repels it, but she is drained of energy, just as Shen Yi calls out, having found a statue in the water. Inside a cave, he discovers the wooden statue has sprouted roots, and the new sapling asks for water, sunlight, and fertilizer. He pours water on it, watching her with a curious look, but the sapling rejects it, demanding a ridiculously complex recipe. With the water settled, they try using the kindled flame for sunlight, but the sapling says it is not sunny enough, giving Shen Yi an idea. This strange plant reveals its only fertilizer is moon-related poetry, as a massive fist smashes down on a monstrous centipede, tearing the creature apart in a brutal attack. This plant then demands to eat the centipede to regain its strength. Zio Menju watches in confusion as Shen Yi stores the corpse, and he awkwardly claims to be an insect collector as another monster appears. His new wooden ally zaps the shadowy beast, saving them both. This monster's weapon falls, revealing itself to be a sword spirit. Shen Yi tosses the wooden charm to Zio Menju for protection, but the monster now targets him, the one without a divine shield. She throws it back, insisting she does not need his help. This giant creature looms over her, ready to strike. As they start arguing, tossing the charm back and forth, their bickering leaving the monster completely dazed. Shen Yi uses the opening, hitting it with a frostbite kick. Zio Menju follows up with a powerful true charge slash. He then makes another terrible excuse about collecting giant specimens, and she sees right through it, forcing him to change the subject. Just then, two injured candidates stumble out of the woods, claiming a noble is trying to kill them despite the rules. This blonde boy explains his friend is a shape-shifting wolf, and their attacker, the third-ranked Izisi, attacked without warning. Shen Yi spots their pursuer and demands to know how he broke the rules. Suddenly, the wooden charm in his hand begins to glow. As their enemy scoffs, declaring survival of the fittest is the only law, a blonde boy scoffs at commoners' ambitions. As a hooded killer mocks his latest victim's fate, he lunges at a purple-haired woman with blinding speed, his hand crackling with dark, destructive energy. She somehow blocks the strike, stunning him completely, and deflects the massive claw of dark power. He realizes it was not her who blocked the attack as she prepares her sword for a swift counter. Her blade slashes across his chest, drawing blood, leaving the two fighters in a tense standoff. This blonde boy and his dog took the blow for her, but the killer escapes, vowing to return for them all. This woman calls out for Shen Yi, getting no response, and they realize he has vanished without a trace, just as a volley of arrows rains down from the sky. Elsewhere, the wounded killer retreats, vowing revenge. He takes out a vial with 2 pills to heal himself, but is suddenly stabbed through the chest from behind, this blade piercing him clean through his body. His attacker is Shen Yi, who asks how he hid in the shadows. This killer immediately surrenders, begging for his life, his face a mask of pure, desperate terror. Suddenly, a massive fireball hurtles toward them. A fiery explosion erupts right in front of him, and he is told to run east through a gap in their trap. His pursuers, confident he is too injured to get far. A barrage of glowing purple swords rains down around him, as a voice warns him to head north to avoid encirclement. His enemies quickly adjust, setting a new ambush. He leaps through the dark forest, trying to stay ahead, but his guide warns him that running is useless. His life flame gives away his real-time location to the hunters. Suddenly, another candidate ambushes him from the trees, but Shen Yi catches the attacker midair, turning the tables. This other hunters watch as a flying sword carries them both away. Realizing the traitor plans to claim the entire reward for himself, he gloats about the prize from a major clan. But Shen Yi just thanks him for breaking the encirclement. A title card for the series flashes on screen. Shen Yi interrogates his would-be captor about the plan. Just as the other hunters finally track them down, he unleashes his moonflow technique to escape. But a massive brute with a hammer was waiting for him, slamming his weapon down with incredible force. Shen Yi catches the hammer, revealing his own immense strength, just as another hunter closes in with a powerful kick. And our boy is thrown off balance, surrounded on all sides. A blade slices deep into his arm as the ambush closes in. Shen Yi coughs up blood, taking a brutal hit. His pursuers close in, declaring that death is his only escape. But with glowing eyes, he whispers that the plan has succeeded, leaving the cloaked hunters completely stunned. He vanishes in an instant, leaving only glowing cuts on a tree. They realize their information was wrong, that he is far more dangerous than they knew. In a flash, two of their own fall dead, throats slit. A voice from the darkness declares it is his turn to be the hunter. Two other hunters find the body of a fallen assassin and discover the entire squad has been wiped out. This remaining pursuers race through the forest trying to find him. One of them, the punk from before, vows to kill Shen Yi himself. He hears a rustle in the bushes, spotting a single shoe on the ground. A sinister grin spreads across his face, his eyes glowing with malice. As he leaps from the shadows, yelling that he has found his prey, but it is just a decoy, an empty shoe left in the grass. Suddenly, Shen Yi drops from above, grabbing him by the head, and with glowing purple eyes he asks who really found whom. Just then, another hunter spots them and shouts out their location. This others rush in, eager to claim the bounty on Shen Yi's head. This captured hunter screams for them to hurry. As his severed head is thrown into the air, still shouting Shen Yi's location, this talking head gives away his exact position to the other hunters, luring them right into his trap. He hangs in the darkness, ready to make these nobles feel what it is like to be hunted. One of the hunters hears a sound in the dark forest, as Shen Yi watches them from the shadows, and a severed head suddenly screams from the undergrowth, revealing Shen Yi's terrifying new ability. Just as another hunter is stabbed through the chest from behind. This remaining hunters brace for an attack, knowing Shen Yi is close, but the blue-haired boy is immediately run through with a spear. Pinned to a tree as his allies learn Shen Yi can hide in shadows, he vanishes again, saved by his meat card, so their leader decides to burn the entire forest to the ground. He summons his allies, floating above them in a blaze of fire, and prepares to unleash a devastating fire talisman, engulfing the entire area in a fiery explosion. His own teammates are caught in the blast, screaming in agony, as the inferno carves a massive crater through the landscape. This entire forest is reduced to ash, but they spot Shen Yi still standing. A hunter gloats that he is now trapped inside a wall of inescapable flames, but a blizzard of ice shards suddenly rains down on them, freezing them in place as the fire user steps up to defend his team. One suggests retreating, but another hunter refuses, vowing to kill Shen Yi herself. A massive skull of pure death energy materializes behind Shen Yi, and as the fire user defends, our boy appears right behind him for payback, unleashing a blast of cold, dark energy. This hunter mocks the attack just before ice spikes erupt from the ground, impaling him as Shen Yi watches with cold, glowing eyes. A spirit snake appears before a blue-haired boy, but he scoffs at its attempt to defend the noble families. This snake reveals the nobles are actually nests for gods or even tombs, telling him the world is far more complex than he knows. It vanishes with a cryptic warning to stay alive, and as the vision fades, the boy finds the snowstorm has stopped, only to be replaced by a sky raining fire. Another candidate summons a door, planning to divert the flames to another world. This blue-haired boy is left holding the door, stunned by the bizarre plan. As his ally burns, a cursed statue offers to take his place for a drop of blood. He bites his thumb, activating its power as the rules of the test change. Suddenly, he is transported to a desolate, rocky wasteland. He finds himself facing a massive army of the undead. He holds up a glowing medal, claiming to be on their side. This skull-faced token glows with an eerie purple light, summoning a terrifyingly powerful undead general before him. This boy realizes this nightmare world is far deadlier than the exam, as the general questions why he is here instead of at the human capital. He declares his true mission is revenge against the human Prince Norton. This general scoffs, doubting he could ever get close to royalty. This boy explains he earned the prince's trust through years of hard labor, and he even shows the general a letter of recommendation as proof. But he reveals the prince exploited him, taking 90% of his profits. That stolen wealth was used to fund the prince's decadent lifestyle, while his workers were trapped in debt and illusions, turned into mindless slaves. A knight declares the chaos is all part of Prince Norton's plan, just as a frost demon king appears, mocking his naive idea of revenge. This demon offers him a glowing stone, a supposed map of the undead clan. He is told to use the stone as bait to get close to the prince for an attack. This knight realizes it is a suicide mission and the stone is likely a bomb. Surrounded by skeletal warriors, he has no choice but to accept, as the demon lord calls its surrounding army a simple pursuit drill. A skeletal hand suddenly grabs his shoulder and the demon lifts him effortlessly into its palm. With a powerful throw, he is launched into the sky, as the demon orders its army to hunt down the thief. He flies toward the human camp, screaming for help from the soldiers below. This demon's subordinate questions if this human can succeed where they failed. A title card for the series flashes on screen. He keeps running, finally stumbling into the human encampment. He looks up to see a massive, glowing door ahead. He hurls the stone at it, then turns to yell for help with his information. The soldiers recognize him as Saint Picky and rush to his defense. They form a shield wall, determined to protect the messenger. Picky runs past the guards as they hold back the undead horde. He reaches an elven commander, warning her of a massive plot to kill the prince, but her grave expression leaves him speechless. He sees Prince Norton already bandaged and dying in bed. This prince weakly explains he fell into an undead trap. As the prince's life fades, an attendant gives a final blessing. This prince's attendants mourn his fate, vowing to die with him. But Picky reaches out, telling them not to give up just yet. and the dying prince agrees to let him try, having lost all hope. Picky pulls out a glowing vial, determined to save the man who believed in him. Meanwhile, the undead general reveals the stone was a soul shock bomb, but as he tries to detonate it, nothing happens. He wonders if the distance is too great to trigger the explosion, growing more frustrated as the bomb fails to activate. Picky considers using a futuristic machine but fears being burned for heresy. This prince orders his guards to leave, asking only for Picky to stay by his side. His loyal followers reluctantly obey his final command. Picky sees the prince not as a noble but as a true comrade. He places him in a high-tech chamber which begins a 10-hour repair cycle, but the machine is too large to fit through the secret passage door. He carries the prince himself, declaring, "Long live the people." Stepping through the door, he enters the fiery testing grounds, finally reaching a collapsed hidden passage to wait. A system message appears, granting him a new attribute: the boy who lived for saving the descendant of a god. He decides to rest there until the prince's treatment is complete. Sometime later, back in the main world, rain pours down. Shenyi emerges from a pool of water as Xiao Menjiu watches, calling him cunning. She confronts a new woman, recognizing her as a hidden observer from a past battle. With glowing red eyes, she warns the stranger to stay away from Shenyi, and the woman agrees, saying she finds their struggle entertaining to watch. This blonde prince awakens, wrapped in bandages, shocked to find he is still alive after the attack. His guard, Beiki, explains they are in a secret undead passage. This prince reveals a traitor was behind the assassination attempt, and asks Beiki to be his personal guard, trusting him with his life. Beiki eagerly accepts the mission as the prince begins to teleport them. They arrive at a remote cabin, one of several random hideouts. This prince tells Beiki to secure the perimeter while he sends orders. Beiki decides to quickly sneak back to the testing grounds, promising himself it will only take a few minutes. He summons a unique gate to connect the two worlds. But a powerful old man with glowing eyes appears behind him. Holding a severed head, he tells Shenyi to accept his death. It was all a trap. A title card for the series flashes on screen. Shenyi boosts his agility, desperately trying to flee. This old hunter watches him go, noting his impressive speed. He vanishes in a blur, creating a ripple in the rain, and reappears right in front of Shenyi, moving faster than sound. A powerful sonic blast engulfs our boy, consuming a defensive shield. This shockwave obliterates a path through the forest. This hunter stands in the crater, sensing something is wrong. He realizes Shenyi left a substitute and somehow vanished. A flashback shows Shenyi diving through his gate just in time. He slams the portal shut, realizing he cannot go back for now. Returning to the cabin, he makes an excuse to the fake prince about his condition. This prince explains how he used his absence to set an ambush, and his subordinate praises the plan, asking for cash instead of a title. He makes a strange clicking sound, getting the attention of someone just outside the door, a terrifying, shadowy creature with glowing purple eyes. This boy announces he has captured the prince for them, asking their master to torture him instead of granting a quick death. This creature is convinced, believing no human would use a god's bloodline as bait. This boy then reveals he created a loophole in their barrier, and the creature, sensing no other life, prepares to take revenge. It vows to burn the human soul to ash for all to see. But with glowing eyes, the boy reveals his true identity. It is Shen Yi. He shouts open, activating a portal right behind the monster. This creature is dragged through the doorway into a raging storm, finding itself trapped in another world with a powerful old man. This elder recognizes the technique used to kill 15 nobles. From the other side, Shen Yi orders the elder to kill the beast. This portal vanishes as the elder's power flares, and he realizes just how cunning Shen Yi truly is. This trapped creature understands it was lured into an ambush. Two powerful opponents finally face off, ready for battle. This elder lunges, but the creature disappears into the ground, reappearing instantly for a surprise attack from behind. But the elder catches the blow with his bare, glowing hand, dismissing the attack as Shen Yi watches from the other side. Picky panics, realizing two powerful enemies are now hunting him. His spirit guide reveals the stone he discarded is a soul bomb, and Shen Yi's plan is to throw him out to find it. He is tossed through the door into the raging storm, screaming for help as an old master spots the bait. This master unleashes a storm of shadowy bone spikes, then follows up with a roar of the raging tiger, but it only hits a clone Shen Yi left as a decoy. This old master roars in fury at the deception, just as a massive shadow gate erupts around him. Meanwhile, Picky scurries away in his spider form, quickly locating the glowing soul bomb in the mud. This old master is suddenly impaled by another attacker's spikes. Finding himself trapped by the king of shadow assassins, he suddenly senses the imminent danger, a soul blast bomb. A massive purple explosion engulfs the entire area, and Picky confirms their dangerous plan was a success. But the old master emerges from the blast, wounded but alive, crushing his shattered weapon in his bare hand. This bomb is revealed to be an undead superweapon, one that can be detonated by a secret incantation. Picky is stunned by the modern world references, but he is rewarded with a powerful new trait for his troubles. Suddenly, the sound of clapping echoes in the darkness. As blood splatters across his horrified face, Picky's eyes widen in utter shock. As the ground collapses, sending them plummeting into a chasm, a mysterious girl saves him, but he demands to know her true identity. She reveals her mistress is dying and she is here to repay a debt. Her mistress is Song Yinchin, the girl Shen Yi saved years ago. Piki asks what is wrong with her, sensing it is more than just an illness. It is an unbreakable curse, and she admits she caused the hotel explosion for her. He refuses to let her give up, demanding a way to help save her life. Elsewhere, a powerful being speaks of a cosmic deity who cultivates entire worlds, and declares that for them, Shen Yi is that world. They vow to patiently nurture his evolving power to help him grow. Back with Prince Norton, he challenges Beiki, demanding to know his secrets. He asks how a mere human could possibly defeat the legendary Frost Demon. But since Beiki saved his life, the prince decides his loyalty is all that matters. He offers Beiki any reward he desires for his service. A choice between countless legendary treasures from the Empire's vaults. Beiki says there is only one thing he truly wants. This prince warns him that a suspicious answer means immediate execution. With a steady hand, Beiki points forward, asking for the very necklace around the prince's neck. It is the sacred jewel of compassion, an epic item that can remove curses. This prince questions his strange choice among so many powerful artifacts. Beiki explains it is to save a cursed friend, a choice the prince deems foolish yet admirable. Later, with the prince fully healed, he prepares his forces to return to battle. But when he turns to find Beiki, the boy has vanished. A crude drawing is left on the wall, a note from Beiki baffling his former companions. Meanwhile, Shen Yi ends a call, telling someone to try a jewel he found. A system message declares the third stage of the test is over. As elsewhere in the testing grounds, a strange ritual is underway. A long-haired warrior confronts a hidden group, challenging a man engulfed in a monstrous red aura. This corrupted fighter roars, ready for a final battle. His opponent unleashes a brilliant golden light, attempting to purify the dark energy consuming the man. This red creature is overwhelmed by the golden power, its form dissolving into pure light and energy, leaving only a glowing crystal in its wake. This warrior sighs, lamenting the chaos of the new world. Back with our heroes, Shen Yi's group travels through a canyon. They arrive at 3 massive doors, learning about the top schools. Their allies choose a different path, wishing Shen Yi and Xiao Menju luck. Now alone, Shen Yi asks his companion if she is ready, and together they push open the heavy, ornate gate. A blinding light pours from the doorway, revealing their next trial. This next exam's content is revealed, and Shen Yi looks down in shock. He finds a prisoner half buried in the ground with a key nearby. A title card for the series flashes on screen. Xiao Menju notes that someone has finally arrived. A small, shackled child looks up, asking if they are here to save them. A purple-haired woman finds a young boy, asking if he is the prisoner. He points to a key, screaming that it is a detonator for his collar, a trap. She eyes the key suspiciously, demanding he prove his story. This boy recognizes the divine sword of the Luo clan on her back and tearfully names his savior Luo Faikyuan, believing she was sent to help. Elsewhere, a blue-haired boy finds another body, his objective to get the key. Suddenly, a strange chattering sound echoes around him, as 3 monstrous snake-like heads emerge from the shadows. He is sent flying by a vicious lunge from one of the beasts. Learning this phantom only has a tenth of the real monster's power, he activates a super transformation for his skeletal companion, unleashing the legendary Skeleton King in a burst of energy. This Skeleton King battles a fiery beast, but its ice kick is not strong enough. With the door now open, he and his skeleton leap through, passing the stage. Back with the woman, she agrees to help the prisoner after hearing Luo Faikyuan's name. With a flash of light, the boy's shackles break apart. She stands over the fallen, realizing she had overlooked a detail in her investigation. A system message declares Xiao Minjiu the first examinee to pass the test. Now outside, she worries for Shen Yi, who is seen falling into a deep chasm. He hits the water below with a massive splash. Shen Yi surfaces, defiantly telling his captor their trap is useless. As the chasm wall cracks, a message explains the enemy's soul-trapping methods. A strange man appears from the crack, offering the key in exchange for a kiss. But another man walks past, revealing the key is not actually needed to escape. Shen Yi recognizes the top-ranked examinee, Nangong Suru, bound by strange red threads. This blonde man stares in disbelief, as a red beam of energy shoots from the portal, slicing through the rocky terrain and blasting a distant target, shocking a nearby soldier. Meanwhile, a female candidate completes her tests and is teleported to the academic advancement hall. Elsewhere, Shen Yi accuses a shadowy entity of manipulating him, claiming it wants to absorb the souls of an entire island. This entity says his stubbornness is a strength, offering him a red thread of power as a dangerous gift. It sends him into an underground river to face a hidden challenge, hoping he will one day use its power to kill all humans. Back in a grand hall, a crowd gathers around a glowing sphere. As a man activates a secret communication barrier, a purple-haired observer realizes it is for confidential information. Fearing something terrible has happened in the testing grounds, Shen Yi reaches a massive stone gate at the river's end, but even with all his strength, it refuses to open. Suddenly, a massive armored knight descends upon him, recognizing his technique but dismissing him as a novice. This knight is impressed, believing Shen Yi is the heir to a lost lineage, and decides to unleash his full power against him. Shen Yi summons his Skeleton King to block a water dragon attack, which transforms into a terrifying centipede skeleton. This knight is surprised by the netherworld creature. A golden beam of light shatters the ice. As the centipede skeleton cries out Shen Yi's name and is thrown back by the immense force, this powerful summon is completely destroyed, but a system message reveals it blocked a fatal blow. A voice from the darkness praises his efforts, as the knight admits he was injured but declares Shen Yi too weak to pass. He says farewell, promising to remember his opponent, and impales Shen Yi with his massive spear. But Shen Yi decides to use his last resort, channeling the attack's force to shatter the stone gate. His skill activates, granting him one final breath to fight. He lunges forward in a desperate final strike, but the knight catches his blade with a single hand. This attack is stopped cold, the knight impressed by its speed, leaving Shen Yi helpless on the end of the spear. This knight explains the history of the four sects, just as a massive wooden dragon erupts from the water. Shen Yi defiantly asks why his opponent returned after losing, and a mysterious woman appears, confirming he won but was deceived. He angrily dismisses her warnings, caring only about his victory. She insists that everything she has said is the truth, and proposes they make another bet. She reveals a secret list of people who ordered the attacks on him and his friends, offering him the list if he can defeat her one more time. This entity offers a dangerous bet, a goddess's wager. Back in the hall, the exam officially ends, but Shen Yi is missing. As others celebrate, Menju realizes something is terribly wrong. A rival taunts her, claiming Shen Yi's absence proves he failed. He sneers, calling her a fool for believing in our boy. An official welcomes her to the academy but gives a chilling warning. Menju glares back, defiant and worried. But then a voice cuts through the crowd. I saw Shen Yi. An investigator asks the witness Nangong if Shen Yi was dead or alive. Nangong explains how Shen Yi saved him from the calamity, proving his innocence. But a woman in black declares that if Shen Yi is alive, he must be arrested. She insists he was always a demon, certain he joined the enemy. His rivals quickly agree, accusing him of breaking sacred rules. Suddenly, a water bubble materializes, holding a battered Shen Yi, and an official immediately places him under arrest for treason. Shen Yi denies it, desperately warning them of bombs planted in the city. This woman in black scoffs, dismissing his plea as utter nonsense. She accuses him of creating a diversion for an ambush. Trapped, Shen Yi demands his release as the official orders an investigation. He screams that their delay will cost hundreds of thousands of lives. This official coldly orders him to be silent, but a golden light flashes, a finger pointed in defiance. A man from the martial arts group demands his release, challenging the official's authority. This official tells him to stand down, offering a single chance to walk away. His eyes glow with power as a strange wooden spirit appears by his side. A strange seed-like creature unleashes a wave of green energy, engulfing Shen Yi in a powerful healing light. His observers are stunned by this sudden turn of events. As the crowd realizes he has received the blessing of the arcane realm, an official laughs, impressed by his feat, but a woman in black moves to claim him for her own group. This crowd gasps as a massive dragon appears in the hall, and a system message confirms Shen Yi has joined a legendary sect. This official grabs him, demanding to know how he joined the lost sect, explaining it is a legendary power that has long since vanished. Suddenly, all three major schools are vying to recruit him, but he ignores their offers, demanding they disarm the bombs in the port. Just then, an alert sounds, multiple explosions rock Cloudspire port. A flashback begins, showing the peaceful city just moments before, where a woman is telling a story about the goddess of springs. She speaks of a legend where the goddess saved the land from drought. A small child approaches, offering her a single flower. This woman accepts it, playfully asking who is more beautiful, and the child declares that she is, without a doubt. This woman smiles, seemingly touched by the innocent gesture, but her eyes glow with malice as she curses the child in return. Nearby, a white-haired man smiles, obeying a divine command. This child and her family look on in terror as the people around them begin to glow and vanish, culminating in a massive explosion that tears the city apart. A mysterious woman calmly faces three assassins, who are instantly impaled by a dark, bloody power. Two more warriors charge in, calling her a monster, but she unleashes a massive shadow attack, stunning them. A powerful energy wave blasts through the battlefield. An elder orders his team to keep their distance and attack from afar. They bombard her with a volley of ranged abilities, hoping their combined assault was enough to win. But a voice from the smoke mocks their efforts, warning she is still alive. She emerges reborn, declaring herself the goddess of the spring. Her victims are shown trapped in a web of red, cosmic threads, screaming in agony as their bodies are pierced. She stands over the defeated, telling them to extinguish their desires. A flashback reveals her curse hanging over a massive ship, affecting over 300,000 people. We see her unconscious in a strange, fleshy cavern, as a man vows to save her, surrounded by friendly spirits. Back in the present, officials panic over a rank calamity at the port. An overseer quickly organizes an evacuation for the students. A proctor informs Shen Yi he is the first winner, giving him the right to choose any high school he wants. This Jailan overseer scoffs and leads his students up a grand staircase, but Menju decides to join Shen Yi at Terran's school instead, apologizing to her former overseer for her choice. Another top student also defects, intrigued by Terran's ancient inheritance. A massacre sweeps through the port, creating deadly phantom copies of everyone. An overseer from Nader Academy calls for his students to gather, and an examiner decides to lure the powerful enemy away from the students. as elsewhere a purple-haired woman battles her own phantom copy. Their duel is a whirlwind of clashing steel and explosive energy, while a blonde fighter is brutally beaten by his own doppelganger. This phantom lunges, ready to deliver a final killing blow, but Shen Yi arrives just in time, grabbing the attacker's leg. But it is a trick. The real Zhang Xiaoi is on the ground and a phantom Shen Yi attacks him. This lightning attack obliterates the boy, who marvels at Shen Yi's power even as he dies. Xiao Menjiu appears with two spirit dogs, unable to identify the real person among two copies. Shen Yi leaps into battle, explaining he is immune to the curse because he won their bet. She is still flustered, unsure how to handle the two identical phantoms. They decide to find Nangong Suru first, but Shen Yi suddenly stumbles to the ground. Xiao Menjiu asks what is wrong and he brushes it off as simple dizziness. But an observer notes that his strength is completely depleted. Nangong Suru appears, explaining that with Shen Yi weakened, they must defeat the examiner's copy. But Xiao Menjiu admits she is also too drained to fight, leaving Nangong to go alone. As he leaves, they learn this entire space is a fragile realm created by the examiner. If she fails, they all die, and they see Nangong is already fighting his own copy. This real Nangong summons golden spirits with his massive brush, launching an attack. Just 2 minutes earlier, the group realized they were too weak to help him. Refusing to give up, Shen Yi decides to join the fight despite his exhaustion. He summons a spirit horse, leaving his companions stunned by his resolve. Meanwhile, glowing hands reach out from the darkness, a sign of the realm's decay. An instructor unleashes a powerful ink formation, as Shen Yi offers a legendary healing elixir to a classmate, who hesitates, knowing how precious the medicine is. Suddenly, a glowing dove delivers a message from the outside world, an update on the devastating explosion at Cloudspare Port. But Shen Yi knows it is a lie. The curse mark on his hand has not faded. The students scramble to find mounts, desperate to reach safety. Though some complain about their less-than-majestic steeds, they kick up dust as they begin their frantic journey. A massive group riding hard across the desolate plains. A vision flashes of a person trapped by glowing blue spirits. As the students continue their desperate ride onward, their instructor finally announces they have arrived at their destination, ordering everyone to dismount and head through a portal. Before leaving, Shen Yi decides to give a parting gift, infusing his mount with residual arcane energy from the realm. The students are then pulled through a massive painting of horses, emerging into a grand hall that looks like a museum. Shen Yi is confused, asking if this is really the Terran school, and the purple-haired woman confirms it is, to his shock. This is the Museum of the World, located in the world's capital city. A woman contacts Shen Yi, denying her involvement in a past incident. She promises to come out of seclusion to reveal the truth, and he immediately asks her messenger if she is Song Qingyun. Back with the group, an instructor cancels their vacation due to the curse. A glowing woman announces immediate training, shocking the new students. They are forced into worn-out armor, complaining about the gear, and learn they are being sent into a dangerous anomaly. A stern general on horseback sizes up the new recruits, but before he can continue, a hand prepares to snap, and a woman in red armor freezes time completely. She explains an anomaly is a controlled time-space invasion for training. A golden beam of light signals the start of the trial, and as time resumes, the general continues his speech unaware. He berates the recruits, demanding absolute military discipline. He grills a blue-haired boy who gives a perfect, sycophantic answer. This general orders them all to run 10 laps to test their potential. As they run, the dog is whipped for barking without permission, a brutal lesson in discipline for the new recruits. But the general suddenly stops the blue-haired genius, offering to let him rest in the barracks instead. He is led to a private room with a hot spring, where the general asks to see that thing, causing the boy to panic. This general is confused by his terrified reaction, revealing he just wants to show him the profession selection orbs. He presents the Demon Slayer, a warrior who suppresses evil, and the Wind Tracker, an agile scout and assassin. He warns that choosing multiple professions is extremely difficult. Despite the warning, the boy confidently chooses both. Later, he relaxes in the hot spring, enjoying his reward. A blue-haired boy relaxes in a hot spring, enjoying the feeling of youth, when a knock at the door announces a takeout delivery. And he shouts for them to leave it, learning there is a package too. After they leave, he cautiously checks the entrance, reaching out from behind the gate to grab the mysterious box. Suddenly, fireworks erupt, congratulating Shen Yi on his exam results. As he unrolls a glowing banner from the box, finding it too flashy, he then checks a student profile for a mysterious girl named Yun Nai, just as a system message declares he is now a 6-star disciple. His power surge causes the hot spring to completely evaporate, and Xiao Menjiu bursts in, worried for his safety. They are both stunned by the awkward situation, and he quickly asks her to wait so he can get dressed. But the anomaly closes, teleporting everyone out instantly. A female student teases him for adapting so quickly, and he desperately dashes through the crowd to find clothes. Later, he is on a call, horrified by the massive celebration in his honor. As his parents wish him well before hanging up abruptly, Shen Yi ends the call, utterly baffled by everything. His expression then hardens with determination. Realizing his new permissions can help him investigate a past incident, he quickly finds a file on a man in a suit, his identity authenticated for confidential information. This file reveals the man, now white-haired and bloody, tied to a chair. A captor grabs his face, accusing him of disobeying orders. This captor taunts his prisoner for refusing to open an altar, mocking him for causing his own family's demise, and insists he should be thanked for the experience. But the prisoner's eye glares back with pure hatred as the captor suddenly screams in agony. His hand devoured by the starving, red-eyed man, he desperately calls for his guards to attack, but they are instantly shredded by a dark, bloody power. This prisoner hangs from the ceiling, condemning the noble family's arrogance, while his captor tries to summon a desperate counterattack. But the white-haired man only laughs, heralding an incarnated god, and promises to consume them all, leaving nothing behind. Back in the anomaly, Shenyi stares at his phone, confused, learning how noble families forced a man to summon a demon. He questions why he is being shown such dangerous secrets, seeing visions of the man's past and vowing to stop him. A system message explains he has the right to see this truth. And Shenyi recognizes a cursed statue from the video, an ancient artifact from a long-lost clan. Feeling overwhelmed, he decides to just go to sleep. Elsewhere, under a crescent moon, someone walks through a grand estate, where two blindfolded maids summon the second mist to a study. A silver-haired woman looks up from her book, agreeing to go. She makes her way through a quiet courtyard at night, arriving at a grand hall to meet her father and sister. A woman happily recognizes Shenyi as her childhood savior. While her sister looks on, repeating his name in a daze, she apologizes, her memory completely gone, as a voice orders her to cooperate with her sister, calling it a rare opportunity. A flashback reveals her sister awakening a powerful family talent, while she was sickly, her own awakening a complete failure. Her weakness was seen as a disgrace to their noble family, forcing her to hide away in shame. But her sister reached out, promising to protect her always. She swore that no matter what, they would always be family, but from that moment on, she felt herself fall into an abyss, her existence worthless. She now believes her sister cursed her out of jealousy, turning her into a cripple. She was forced to bear the blame for crimes she did not commit, and decides to see Shenyi one last time before the end. This next day, the anomaly at Terran begins. Students are ordered to hug pillars to suppress the curse, but those strong enough to resist are free to move about. This purple-haired woman grabs Shenyi, dragging him away to talk. She reveals the news about the port was a lie, a fabrication. This truth is that the port has fallen with almost no survivors. She suspects it is a cover-up, a tactic to buy time for a new plan, and she believes it has something to do with him. He agrees to be cautious, peeking through a nearby door, and finds the mysterious girl from before who reminds him of her promise. A blue-haired boy arrives to meet a young woman, offering her a rare, curse-removing jewel, but she questions how he obtained such a treasure, hesitating to accept the dangerous gift. He insists, calling it repayment for saving his life twice. She asks him to let her mistress rest in peace if this fails, but he grabs her, demanding she stop being so negative, and vows to do everything in his power to save her. He tells her to give her mistress a message of hope, moving her to tears. This conversation turns to a dark secret about the Song family, revealing a plot to frame the second sister for a massive disaster. This eldest sister is the family's future, a prodigy who cannot be stained, while the second is deemed worthless and disposable. He realizes this was all a setup, and the girl confirms her suspicions. This eldest sister has always tortured the younger out of fear and jealousy. She planted a curse, isolated her, and stole everything she held dear, targeting the one person her sister cherished. Shenyi understands he was just a pawn in her cruel game, and the girl asks what he will do now. A vision shows him trapped, a plaything in a powerful woman's hands, and he asks how he can possibly tell the sisters apart. She explains their tells, one has ice blue eyes, the other summons colored feathers. Elsewhere, a new trial begins for a group of recruits, who must learn the basic skill of mineral exploration. An instructor brutally punishes two who mock the profession's difficulty. Shenyi shouts out, asking about the general's tool, and the general praises his excellent question, explaining that true professionals can use the Fa realm's power, unleashing a massive wave of energy that flattens the recruits. Glowing fish-like spirits erupt from the ground, scanning the area, as the general explains the 9 levels of power. He then singles out Shenyi, calling him a genius, who is suddenly transported to a terrifying realm of dying suns.